Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode 49, The Impact of the Nintendo Switch. With me, George, and as always joined by Tom, switched on to my switched off. How's it going?
Hey, mate. I'm good, thank you. Well, holding up as we all can in the current situation, but it's nice to be at home with my family and spending some time with them and playing some video games. But
Very good.
enough of that.
Yes.
Are you okay?
I am very well.
Always.
Always.
I see by your Assassin's Creed ever-growing completion list that you're doing very well indeed.
Yeah, in a week, finish Black Flag 4. Well, no, Black Flag 4? No, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. Before we dive into that, Tom, you are deviating from the railroad tracks, which help keep this show alive and well and heading from one place to the other, A to B, from beginning to end. So we'll give them a quick rundown. In a very quick moment, we'll ask each other what we're hoping to play. Then we have the very latest, hottest, red-hot, white-hot news. Then we have the feature, which James, the work experience boy, has been locked in an understairs cupboard. We pass through a bottle of water doused in Jace fluid, so there's no corona. So if anyone falls down, we can always have a script. So we keep him in the understairs cupboard. Phil, the producer's throat chopping. He's saying that enforced child labour and kidnapping is not okay, so maybe he'll edit that out. I don't know. Then
we'll leave that up to him.
We'll leave that up to him. Then we have the new releases. The man survived Stingray, the cull of Farmerton, but he crept out, and he's still keeping spirits high. And then I ask you what you're hoping to play. But before the show starts proper, Tom, Odders, grip your PlayStation 1 driving wheel, because you're quarantined, friend. You can't go out. Probably a Mad Catz one or something. He's doing well for himself, Tom. He's upgraded to the Mad Catz PlayStation 1 unofficial driving wheel.
Maybe a Mad Odd Cat.
Mad Odd Cat, maybe. Grip that knurled 50p charity shop bargain. Tom, what you been playing?
Well, again, I've a reasonable amount of time when I'm not busy with family stuff or doing any other things to play some more Final Fantasy VII Remake. Thoroughly enjoying that still. I'm about the 30-hour mark now, so I'm not quite sure how long the game is. The opinions seem to vary depending on the side quest. I love the characters. The four main characters are really well done. They stand the test of time, and obviously I think they've been fleshed out a bit more. The music is just wonderful. Like, I've heard great things about it in the past, and it's really blown me away. We're definitely looking to pick the soundtrack up when I can, or if it becomes available. Really impressive. I was a bit disappointed last Friday, because that was when the game officially came out. I've had it a bit before then, that there hasn't been a patch to sort these textures out. I know I'm nitpicking, but when you have the quality of the character models and how well they look, it's a shame then that when you go to certain environments and look at the backgrounds, they're really, really badly pixelated. And it's a shame. It does take you out of it a little bit. It's still very much a linear experience. Like, there's no big open world areas. It's just these areas you work your way through. But because the story is so strong, it just gels really well. And the combat is phenomenal. It's a great culmination of real time and turn based coming together. Some people are probably not going to like it, but for me, who I like sort of an action game like Devil May Cry, it kind of steers more to that than the traditional turn based. There's some summons in there as well. I won't spoil what they are, but they're back and they're really spectacular. The way the graphics are used with a lot of the effects for the different elements, fire, ice, so forth. A lot of you all know some of the spirits or the summons that have been in previous Final Fantasy games. But yeah, really enjoying that. Some more Call of Duty Battle Royale. I haven't picked up a solo win yet, finding that really tough. I know a few of the loyal. It's good fun, mate.
My cat's got a solo win on COD Warfare.
Yeah, but he's pretty fast with those paws, isn't he?
Well, he ain't got a thumb, though. You've got to think about that. So he's having to like work twice as hard.
Maybe he's got the Xbox adaptive controller. What a great idea that was, by the way. We should just shout that out.
I haven't seen that. So unless he's got an Xbox One and the...
He has.
He has, I think.
He snuck it out, yeah. I've played a bit of Streets Rage 2 on the Mega Drive Mini. I've cracked that out, which I've enjoyed. Just getting ready for the potential release of Streets Rage 4, which might be rumoured to be coming out next week as a digital release. And then I believe, obviously, there's a physical edition through one of those limited run games or providers. I know one of our listeners has picked that up. I'm quite jealous. It looks real cool with a sort of Mega Drive Genesis box and everything.
Right.
So yeah, it looks real nice. That
a million copies of Sonic just gave up their lives so they could have spare Genesis boxes.
Doom Eternal, doing my second run through of that. Just that's really enjoyable. I spoke a bit about that, so I'm not going into depth. There is just going back.
Well, hang on a minute. If anyone's listening now and wants a history of Doom, go to last week's episode.
Yeah, including sort of impressions of Doom Eternal as well. So it's very up to date, and it's a great little history of part of our series we do when we look back at a particular game series or console or various other things really that we've done over the course of a year. So there's a great wealth of back catalogue stuff there for you to drop back and have a listen to while everyone's off over this. Most of us are off in lockdown. So please help yourselves. It's all free to listen to and available on all podcast channels. Available, Spotify. Yeah, the whole shebang.
The whole lot. Stitcher, TuneIn. If you want to leave a review on any of those, or in fact, I've had some new news, Tom.
What's that,
Podchaser?
Mate?
You know we were the #1 gaming podcast on Podchaser.
Yes. Yeah.
Apparently, any review that gets left on Podchaser right now, 50p goes to the NHS to help fight Corona.
Wow.
Exactly.
Right, guys.
And I do believe they might be doubling it as well at some point in time as well. So doubling up the money for the reviews. So
that's fantastic.
If you were sitting on the fence, you're at home, you've already platted 6 different tapestries of the whole of the Sonic 1 level. If you've done that and you're thinking, oh, what else can I do? Go on Podchaser, leave a review. We've done it. And at the end of the day, you might help kill Corona.
There you go.
That does it?
It does not. That's a great incentive for people to leave reviews, and it'd really help us out as well promoting the show. So
as always, Tom, we went a little early there. If we'd held off our Podchaser campaign, we could really be right at the forefront now.
We could, but never mind. Just getting back to the games, Final Fantasy VII Remake. There is a friend of mine's come across a glitch at the 30-hour mark. He was on a mission, and all the speaking audio, just stopped and went really quiet. He said it cleared up after that mission, and it went back to normal. But just so people are aware, that's there. There are obviously subtitles, so it does. You're still okay, but I'm hoping they'll probably patch that out.
You don't think after 30 hours of playing the game, he sort of maybe leant on his remote and knocked the volume down?
Yeah, maybe had a bit of hallucination and thought they were actually real characters, and just got a bit freaky. Maybe so. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, you never know.
I've dabbled a little bit, just closing out with Overwatch. There's a new hero available called Echo. Really cool
news.
Really cool damage hero. I obviously play as tank, so someone else was playing as Echo, and they were pulling off some really great stuff. And it's going to mix up the meta quite a lot, and what sort of the best team to run is. She has like a cloning ability that she can clone any character when she gets her ultimate ability, which is quite smart and very sort of sneaky. But yeah, that's about it for me this week. How about what you've been playing?
Well, I'm sure all that Overwatch twaddle meant something to someone.
Yes, sorry if I was using jargon, but the fans are the fans, and the fans that aren't fans are not.
So interwoven in there somewhere, I think the ego managed to ask me what I'd been playing. Well,
of course,
Tom, I'm down. When we last spoke, and the fans had last been here, I just finished Assassin's Creed 3 and I was about to rear into Assassin's Creed 4 and aka Black Flag. And that was, I'll be honest with you, I didn't like it.
So you fully finished it now, and you still haven't liked it
from start to finish. There were a couple of standout missions, but for the most part, I didn't like any of the characters. To be honest, not that much. And maybe it's because Assassin's Creed 3 had such a big big effect on me. But the naval combat, maybe I'm a bit of a geek, but I thought it was a bit lacking.
Yeah.
I thought the world was. Again, this seems strange to say this because I'm going to move on to another game in a minute, but it felt like the world was a little bit too sort of spread out. It felt like the graphics had took a nosedive after 3 as well. Like I know there's bits of it where you think, oh, that's beautiful, or oh, wow, that's a great looking game. And maybe it's because it was too sunny. And I'm Mardy, I don't know. But, you know, I finished that, got the titles at the end. So I managed to collect all the bits and bobs outside of the Animus as well. And yeah, I don't know why I didn't vibe with it. There were times where I was enjoying myself and times where I wasn't. After that, I've moved on to Assassin's Creed Rogue. Was, until the remaster, a PS3 and 360 exclusive that came out while the new consoles were out, PS4 and Xbox One.
Oh, really?
And
so is it seen as 5, or is it like a in between?
It's an in between, really.
Okay.
See it more as a Brotherhood or Revelations.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little short. I'm very nearly at the end of it. It's set in Northern America again. And you're going through Iceberg. Anyone who liked Black Flag, I put it to you, you're going to love Rogue. I didn't like Black Flag, and I think Rogue is actually the better game. It's tighter. After 4 games, well, it's not 4 games, is it? Like 5 games, 6 games to that point, if you've played the Revelations and Brotherhood. If you've played those, you've played a hell of a lot as an assassin. In Rogue, you play as a Templar. Would you believe?
Oh.
You start off as an assassin. And what I liked is you go to the mansion in 3 that Achilles owns, you know, where you do your training as Connor. If you've played 3 and you have, you go there. And it's got loads. It feels like almost like DLC for 3, but with all the nice bits of 4. But the naval combat's loads better. Loads better. The
more refined, do you think?
Yeah, and pirates are great and all that, but in this one, you're working with the Royal Navy.
Oh, look out,
Yeah, exactly. And
number 1 favourite game ever made, period.
Now, number 1 favourite game ever made. It's still a little bit boring at times. I've played a lot of Assassin's Creed now. It's the same mechanics. It's the same.
I think it's important to tell the listeners you would probably have everyone like loading the cannon with full animation, tying bow lines and so forth all over the ship.
Yeah.
Bow.
Yeah, I'd have it full reel. But for that reason, Rogue feels better. You've still got a ram on the front, but because you're operating in ice sheets, it makes sense to have that there.
Okay. Yeah.
And I tell you what, when you break through the ice and it all sort of puffers up on the deck, and there's like
he's excited.
There's snow forming on the upper deck. The ship just looks more a piece of me.
Okay.
Yellow and black.
He's a stickler for the facts.
Yeah, you know, if you're going to do it, and you can have him running around in his Templar costume, or I was able to buy the naval captain's costume.
Of course.
And I've got him running around in that and capturing forts and doing all that sort of Captain Wolf stuff. And you know, he's mentioned in the game. He's mentioned in 3 in a painting as well, and it's Commander Wolf, I think, actually James Wolf. British Army. And you meet Captain Cook as well up in the Northern Ices.
That's cool.
Yeah, and there's whaling in this one, which makes it kind of feels like it makes more sense as well.
Yeah.
Again, here's a little bit of extra footage for you for my. What are you doing?
Sorry, I just had to cancel. It was my iPad making noises. Apologies.
Can't help himself, can he?
Yeah.
He's bored. I've waffled on about Assassin's Creed probably far too.
No, it was
Listen,
making.
My Assassin's Creed 3 Special Edition has seemingly got lost in the post, which I am devastated about. And I've got to apparently file. I spoke to the seller. I've got to apparently file a lost parcel routine to get my money back, which I'm a bit
gutted.
Bit
Is this the one with the? Does it come with a Connor statue?
No. It's not a statue one. It was. I stopped short of that, but it was.
A few thousand that one.
No, it's like 50 quid that one, I think. But this one was like $9.99, and it came with George Washington's notebook, and it came with like a sacred Indian stone and an Assassin's Creed dollar, and it came in a little pouch. And I just thought, you know what? There's a game that had snuck into one of my all-time favourites retrospectively. I thought, yeah, actually, I'll get that. It deserves that. So I'm hoping maybe I'll get that done. I'll get Rogue finished today. And I was thinking of taking a break because Gotham Games have got Wing Into Me, which I bought on air last week for those eager listeners that remember that. I've still got Unity and Syndicate to come.
Yeah.
But I might take a break and play Batman Arkham Origins, because that's the game. I've finished all the other Batmans, and that's one I haven't finished or played. So
are you finished Night?
Yeah.
The third one?
Yeah.
With the Tumbler, with the Batmobile?
Yeah, I finished all the other ones.
Okay, cool. Origins is the one made by
I guess you didn't finish
studio,
Night. You haven't finished Night, have you?
No, I've finished all of them. Every single one.
Chinny wreck on. There's a saying from the playground from about 30 years ago. So I thought, you know what? I haven't played that because it sits outside of the trilogy. Again, 50p game came into the collection at 50p. You can't beat that.
I really enjoyed it. I think the boss fights are great in that. It is weaker in other aspects, but it's certainly not a bad game because it's using a lot of the core elements from the other three anyway. It's just it feels a little less polished, and some of the character on it, design and animation are very strange.
You can tell Rogue was built by a smaller team because there's bits that I've seen quite a few visual glitches.
Really?
And the world is less play tested because I've got trapped a couple of times in between objects. And there was one bit where, admittedly, my ship got damaged to the point where I was desynchronized. But for some reason, my player character got flung half a mile up in the air in the game world.
Is that one of those where they go through the sky and the clouds? And
all of that, and then glitched, and then seemed to only exist in the world outside of the world, which was very strange.
I remember there being a glitch like that on Gears of War 1, I think it was, in the multiplayer, and people were like cheating and stuff. There'd be the crab walk, or there'd be like going out of the map and picking people off from areas where you couldn't be seen.
Well, I do remember a time where I think it was Call of Duty 3 online.
Yeah.
Where if you kind of got on the roof of a building, there was a map that had a bridge in it or some sort of structure. Maybe it was a dam. And if you stood on top of like this shed, you kind of like glitched through the map, so you could like lie down to the floor and snipe. And a bit naughty, really.
Back in the days when you were known as 360 Snipes, 69ers.
69 Snipes 420.
Yeah, that was it, wasn't it?
Noob, N-double-O.
Look, check out all these no scope kills on YouTube. He's just a pro.
The only thing I was good at on Call of Duty was treading the grapes in the winemaking place, in the vineyard map or whatever it was called, Champs-Élysées or some nonsense like that.
Look at the animation in these grapes. Mate, we're under attack. No worries. I've got these grapes covered.
I don't care about that. I look in the air and I spin around.
The mark of a pro.
The mark of a true pro. With that rather historically accurate what you've been playing, it's time to slip like a
trip.
coronavirus with its outer shell still intact, and slip and slide into the news. We've scoured the very darkest regions of the internet to bring you the latest stories. First up, Tom, what you got for us?
Switch it up to a 3DS. What's this all about?
Well,
The coronavirus outbreak has created a lot of chaos since it was declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization. On the gaming front, though, it's made certain systems like the original model Nintendo Switch near impossible to buy in Japan last week. We heard how one local retailer ran an online lottery to simply purchase Nintendo's hybrid system, and it overloaded the company's server. Not a great idea, that one. With the Switch out of stock everywhere at the moment due to ongoing demand and supply chain issues, the 3DS is now seeing a resurgence in sales. But it comes at a price, quite literally. According to price tracker Kakaku, or Kakaku, local retailers have gone from selling the new 2DS XL for as low as 10,000 yen, about $93 in January 13th, roughly to 13,000 yen, roughly $129 this month. Well, it's nowhere near as bad as what scalpers are asking for certain systems. It's still enough to illustrate the increase in demand.
I've got one question for you from that piece of news.
Yes, dude.
That price tracker, is that how someone asks someone if they've soiled themselves?
Are you kakakuku'd? Yes,
I
have.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah, time for me to go.
It's probably time
I try and hold it with these live recordings. I do try and hold it, but it's hard. That's what she said. Anyway, enough of the toilet humour.
Oh, Phil's throat chopping. He's got some editing to do. It's a family-friendly podcast. Is that acceptable?
Yeah, we can get away with that. Phil's looking angry.
He is. He said to me, he wrote like a little Bible, and he said any she said jokes are very sexist, and they're not welcome here. And I thought, from an enlightened millennial like you that takes an afternoon off because his pet ant died, that might be a little bit out of line for you. What's wrong? Coronavirus has turned you into some sort of domestic violence.
Well, Phil's pretty annoyed with me anyway, from the fact that I said he looks like Phil Collins, but he said that's against all odds, to be honest. Oh. Tumbleweed.
What has this show become? Episode 49. What has it become?
Dad jokes.
They're not welcome here.
Okay, we better move on. What we got next in the news, mate?
Sign of the time. Sucker Punch wants you to drink in the PS4 exclusive scenery, so it's doing away with irritating waypoints, hoping that you'll explore its open world naturally. The tidbit comes courtesy of an official PlayStation magazine preview, in which it claims the developer wants you to use landmarks and your knowledge of the world to navigate it. The publication continues, Sucker Punch is no stranger to creating open worlds, but the fairly minimalist nature of the environments is a bit of a departure for the developer. Time in the story will pass as you explore, with titles telling you how much time it's been since the invasion began. I love the idea of that. I can tell you one thing. From my experience Assassin's Creed recently, I spend more time looking at the mini-map than I do at the main screen.
Yeah, it can be very sort of distracting a lot of the time. I remember with like GTA 5, like planning your route, why it's useful to have the GPS, especially in a game where you can drive. You almost like miss a lot of stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think that's a great idea. It has been done before. I'm not going to say it's a fresh idea, but it's going to be a welcome one in that, because there's going to be some really sort of stunning scenery and places to explore that just might pique your interest when you're naturally playing it.
I'm intrigued. I mean, I've got the latest copy of the official PlayStation magazine, one of very few surviving monthly publications.
I believe it's the last one.
No, it's the Xbox one you're talking about.
Is it?
Yep. Ever at the white hot edge of gaming.
Yeah. I just remember hearing one was it's like the final magazine around. There must be Edge magazine still on the go as well,
Yeah,
isn't
I
there?
know, but it's multi-format, isn't it? And it's a little bit more. You used to get that when you were working on Shaolin's face mask, when you were, when you thought you
Yeah.
were someone. It's a more of an. I see Edge magazine more of as an industry.
Oh, I mean, that's why I buy it.
Oh God.
Are
you still buying? Are you still buying that magazine?
No, I get it occasionally. I did at one point get it every month, and I've got a massive collection of them, all with the very nice artwork covers that you tend to notice when you come over, and tend to be rather envious of. I think there's a Sega one you like the look of, didn't you? I'll maybe leave it to you in my will.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah,
Probably
why not?
you're going to outlive me. Oh, saying that though, Tom. I've been running again,
Same. Well, I say again, like probably for the first time since I did cross country at school, I'm taking Boris up on his hour of exercise a day. And I was actually surprised how far I could run.
How far can you run?
I don't know. I did about 3 miles yesterday.
It's a good effort.
I wasn't. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't going like Forrest Gump, but I was still trying to put the effort in. I took the dog with me as well, so she enjoyed it. But yeah, it's nice to get out and about when we're cooped up. For
Dog
so
had
long.
had enough at about a mile and a half.
Yeah,
anyway,
come on, Pooch.
Wore its paws down to the knee bone, literally exposed flesh and bones, scraped along the tarmac of the village. Don't know what's wrong. God knows what's wrong with that.
Bless her. Well, back to the gaming news. Express yourself through the medium of dance for free.
Wow.
What's this all about, George?
Well, you said the headline, but
I better read it, hadn't I?
I'll do the words.
You go for it.
With many people under shelter-in-place orders due to coronavirus, there are fewer ways to stay active and get in your daily exercise. Now more than ever, fitness-orientated games like Ring Fit Adventure, Beat Saber have been crucial for ways for people to get their body moving while stuck inside day in, day out. Unfortunately, Ring Fit Adventure, humbly, I never thought I'd hear myself say this, but Ring Fit Adventure is currently sold out everywhere. And VR games like Beat Saber aren't accessible if you don't have a VR headset. Enter Just Dance, a motion-based dancing game on Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and even the most powerful console on earth, Stadia. For a limited time, you can get a free month of Just Dance Unlimited, the game subscription service that unlocks over 500 songs from previous games. So there's honestly no better time to grab the mic and get moving. You going to get that? Well, Tom's chopped his throat so that he's got the bladder of a small child with a bladder infection, and he's had to nip off for a wee. So while he's off doing that, joys of a live recording, I'll take the time to mention that we're doing a live stream for the NHS in conjunction with It's Much More and a few others. And I'll just pull up the details here so you can all get involved. It's Gamers Unite for the NHS, live streaming event for 2020. It's on Saturday, the 25th of April. So get yourselves. He's back. I decided to press on with the recording. You're muted. That's absolutely great.
Sorry about that. I'm back.
I'll start again. So as he's now back, he wants to probably own the whole show again. But we're going to take some time out to talk about Gamers Unite for the NHS live streaming event on the 25th of April. People involved. It's Much More, obviously. They're the ones who are heading it up and headlining the event. Then, obviously, your good selves, Unofficial Controller Podcast, DCFC Chaz, Gaming Crazy, The Brew. What is with you?
Sorry.
The loudest drink on earth. The bladder of a 5-year-old.
I'm here. Don't worry. Carry on.
Oh. one day I'm going to save up all the money. I was going to say Lord Pontybury gives me, but, someone gives me. And I'm going to get Keith Chegwin on as my co-host.
You'd have a job.
Why?
I think you should Google him. R.I.P. Keith.
Has he passed? Listen.
He has, yeah.
There ain't nothing money can't buy. If I want Cheggers, I'm getting him, right? So anyway.
Altered Beast style.
It's a very important cause. Games unite for the NHS. More important even than Tom's ego. So we're getting together with a few other streamers. It's much more. The Immortal Gazloves games. Did someone say Metro? Metro? Did someone say Retro? Morgan Just Games. It's on Saturday the 25th of April. You can donate at https://UK virginmoneygiving.com/it's much more. And I'll just check the time that your favourite podcast is on. We're in the morning zone. We're on from 10 till 11. Now, to me, that's prime time.
Prime time, baby. You got a good slot there.
Got a good slot.
What do you think you're going to be
doing
showing?
The breakfast show. I'm thinking of doing something where we can grow while on air. So maybe Minecraft or No Man's Sky. Maybe Minecraft, I don't know. Something that's fun for all the family because of the time slot, 10 till 11. Can't be assassinating people. I can't be ripping people's spinal columns out. So I thought that 10 to 11 be a family friendly game.
Yeah, why not? Is this where you turn into like a streamer, legit streamer, and sell your bathwater and so forth, and I get left behind?
I already sell my bathwater. It's how I pay for the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
come the coronavirus as well, come the apocalypse, when fresh water is not available, streamers' bathwater suddenly becomes a real good source of hydration. I mean, it's what you're supping loudly in that glass.
Very good.
All the bath bubbles in there sort of act like a diuretic as well. So that's why you have to keep going for wheeze.
Yes.
So if you want to buy some of my bathwater, head over to the Instagram page and click on the link tree for the shop. If you want to buy some of the show's merch, head over to Comic Pictures on Etsy. No space. Make it happen. Adam the artist has got, Tom's not going to like this, but for all the fans of Series 1 who loved the village of Farmerton, there's pictures of all of the characters. There's also, all of those can go on a T-shirt. You can also get the Immortal, the Man Who Finishes Games T-shirt. I think I need a fundraising stream to get me some money saved up to get me that T-shirt because, I've earned it in recent weeks. I've earned that.
I think you have.
Oh, he's given permission. So anyway, we'll also be doing some more promos for that on our Instagram stories and on our Twitter page as well. So you can see the lineup and how to donate. But, I was going to say any suggestions, but it's going to be either Minecraft or No Man's Sky. I'm thinking probably at this point in time, Minecraft. There's going to be, there's also in that, there's no interrupted scenes causes gameplay to stop recording either, because this is one of my other concerns. If I play like a story game and it chops because it's got cutscenes in it, that's annoying. So I thought if I stick with that, we can start out, build a little mud hut, do some other bits and bobs, do my usual waffle, like I do. Because it's going to be a solo show. It's going to be a long hour. That is. Oof, Christ! I'm going to be filling time like a radio DJ whose whole song cartridge has gone down.
All I'm going to say is, you'll realise why I'm paid the big bucks when you try solo again.
Well,
you realise why you are Chewie and I am Han.
That's true. I am second fiddle to your bass guitar, that's for sure. Tom, now that's all done, you've emptied yourself down, you've relieved yourself. The question is, did we miss anything? Do you have an opinion? Oh, before I forget, supporting local people, supporting local things, doing the right thing. This this Gamers Unite for the NHS is sponsored by Every Bit Gaming. Now, I was on there earlier because I've decided I would go on there and pick up some. Last week I was on Gotham Games buying the Assassin's Creed games. This week I'm on Every Bit Gaming getting myself a Pocket Station. So check their page out if you want to get some retro-related tat for your gaming collection. Anyway, Tom.
Why not?
Did we miss anything? Do you have an opinion or take on the news we miss? And let's face it, they will. If so, Tom, how do the collected masses get in contact with us?
As always, you can direct messages on Twitter, Instagram, or hit us up on an email, questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. We also have a Discord channel, so please come along and join in the chat. We've had a few new people join recently. It's a great place, great community on there. There's no sort of bad blood or any egomaniacs unless I get on there.
I was going to say, luckily,
which is very rare.
The community keeps you in check.
Yeah, they do. And it's just a great place to come and discuss gaming or anything in life, especially during the current situation. There's a lot of like-minded people there. So you can share your best screenshots, gameplay clips, just funny stories, anything. Just come and have a chat. It'd be great to have some new voices on there as well.
It's been a very, very welcome place. I lurk, I hide.
Yeah, you're a bit of a lurker, you.
I'm very much a lurker. I just like to go in there, see everyone being really nice and kind to each other and making friends with everybody and everyone friends with everybody. And I think, do you know what? This is nice. This is something that the show's achieved something here.
But just remember, like a special guest referee, if it gets out of hand, he delivers stone cold stunners left, right, and centre.
I go to shake your hand, give you a gut kick in the midsection, and then spin around and introduce your face to my shoulder blade. Boom. That's how it goes down.
Out cold.
Anyway. Well, James the Work Experience Boy has been living in a homemade fallout shelter that we've made, and he's washed every half hour in a strange concoction of J's fluid and bleach. He's down to his very last layer of skin, but he's managed to weave together a very fine feature, which he's penned and called the impact of the Nintendo Switch feature. I tell you what, it's a good job he's work experience, because I don't think I could afford to pay him for this, because this is very high caliber stuff. And it's thanks to young James and the recently acquired Phil, the producer. It's a good job his name's Phil, because I'm struggling.
We'll forget anyway.
I was going to say, I'm struggling to think of any other job he could do, but, postman springs to mind. I was a bit worried where that was going to go. I don't know why that other job cropped into my mind.
You just settle down.
I'm settled
Leave the smut to me. Right, I'll kick us off.
Okay, all right.
The impact of the Nintendo Switch. It's hard to believe the Nintendo Switch only arrived 3 years ago, and in that time has carved itself out an entirely separate corner of the market, away from the other leading industry competitors, Sony and Microsoft. After the failure of the Wii U, Nintendo went back to the drawing board, which we looked at in one of our previous episodes, Murder of the Wii U, Suspect the Nintendo Switch. Please take a listen when you get a chance. It's a great feature.
Number one, the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, it was the number one suspect. It's a great feature, and it does act as a sort of companion piece to the one you're about to hear.
Okay. Well, then this time around, we're going to take a look at how the Switch has grown into its designer's vision and become one of Nintendo's most successful and intriguing consoles. In its first reveal trailer back in October 2016, feels like a lifetime ago, Nintendo, I suppose if you were like 4, would be, wouldn't it? Nintendo really pushed its idea that this was a home console you could take anywhere, with people playing big adventures like Zelda and Skyrim on the TV at home, then quickly transitioning to being sat with friends playing in a handheld mode. outside. The sheer difference in the way the Switch was advertised compared to the Wii U showed you they were coming with some fresh ideas and a more grown-up, modern feel for the hybrid machine. Deputy General Manager Yoshiaki Kozumi was the main, as always, Tom. Hand me the Japanese names and I will slaughter them like your first at an Aztec party. Was the main producer on the Nintendo Switch, but many other key figures were involved, such as the late Iwata, Shinya Takeshi, and Shigeru Miyamoto. Kozuma really wanted to have a good mix of Nintendo's handheld and console teams to make sure the hybrid could be reached to a very high level. There's some big heavy hitters involved there, Tom.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the, well, obviously the biggest names in Nintendo's company really trying to move away from the Wii U and sort of salvage some of those ideas and give a fresh spin on it, I think, and really make it what they intended the Wii U to be in the first place.
Question I've got for you.
Yes.
Did we have to have the Wii U to get the Switch?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's a given. It was like a natural evolution of what came before. We still see like remnants of the Wii with the Joy-Cons, with the sensor and the motion control, leading to many people asking for sort of a few Wii remasters of games such as Zelda Skyward Sword, and I've heard some people asking for Red Steel from I think that was Ubisoft. I might be wrong.
Why is no one asking for Wii Sports? What's wrong with it?
Apparently, that's seen a bit of a boom. People picking that up again over lockdown, reminiscing of Christmas 2007.
Do you know what? I've
knocking over some virtual pins.
I've actually got a burgeoning Wii collection. I'd say I've probably got about 40, 50 games for that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not.
Nice work.
I know.
Maybe I don't think it's going to be one that holds its value a lot, though.
What, the original Wii?
Yeah, like I think some of the first party games will be worth a bit. But we're going to get to a very well known Switch collector very shortly. But I'll finish out this first section of the feature.
What's that got to do with the Wii?
Because we're talking about the collection of how, like, I think with a lot of Nintendo consoles, some of the first party stuff becomes quite rare, even rarer for like third party, like Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube. There's I think it's Zack and Wiki on the Wii as well, is actually quite a rare title right now, and they do seem to hold value and increase. So you might be sitting on a little Antiques Roadshow treasure chest there for the future.
Oh, I think so. I'll look at some of my. I've not got many NES games, but I've got a few, and they're
yeah, they're the big boys, aren't they? Worth a fair bit of money. So
and
I believe
the SNES has never been cheap. I don't think. Not when it was new, and probably when the PS1 and the N64 came out, they were cheapish, but they were never a quid or $1. Maybe they were. And then obviously the GameCube, again, it's always been an expensive console, that.
Yeah, I think because it wasn't, like, a lot of the stuff wasn't mass produced because it just didn't have the market. It is quite difficult to get hold of certain stuff, and the prices for those are very expensive. But we've touched.
One thing I'd say about the Wii is a lot of the games I've picked up for that were £1 or $1 or whatever it is, euro. But I checked the other day and it was like, oh my God, this game's worth like £15. How did this happen?
Yeah.
Crazy. Nintendo, probably a manufacturer you should collect for if you want to accrue money in your collection, I suppose. But if you just want to play...
I think so, yeah.
Get the console when it's its lowest ebb. Like now would be a great time. Saying that, I was going to say now would be a great time to get Wii U games, but I bet you they're frightfully expensive still.
Yeah, I haven't looked at them recently, but I think it'd be a good time to maybe get the console and then to start picking up some of the
console. Yeah, I might upgrade. I might order a Wii U. I won't do it on air.
I thought that would be banished in the house. We better get back to this feature anyway.
Okay.
Well, the console would have to adapt to people's on-the-go lifestyles and would continue with sort of the busier casual gamer who are used to looking at their phones for a quick gaming fix whilst on a lunch break or riding public transport. This led the team to come up with the idea of switching between the home consoles and handheld effortlessly. Well, Nintendo had its new idea and launched it with great success on March the 3rd, 2017. To critical and commercial success, seems they'd shown to everyone they were back. 2017 went from strength to strength and saw new entries in existing series like Mario Odyssey and Splatoon 2. These, along with the launch title of Zelda Breath of the Wild, helped Nintendo sell 17.79 million units by the end of 2017, and also went on to be the best-selling console of 2018.
I think it won the best-selling console of 2019 as well.
You might be right. Shall we hear from a listener on the subject of collecting? This guy has always been at the forefront of Switch collecting.
No, the first up is Aikido Gaming Bar.
Ah, yes, snuck in there. Got a little comment in.
He says, "I you about that at the beginning of the show."
You did. I've blitzed right over it. I'm sorry. Aikido Gaming Bar says, "I love my Switch, and Breath of the Wild is the game,
the only game."
Yeah, it's nice to hear from Aikido Gaming Bar. I hope you're hanging in there, and hopefully see you again when you reopen after all this unpleasantness. And please go follow them on Instagram and maybe support them by getting a voucher for their relaunch party. It would be great. It's a great little gaming bar where you can go have a drink, play some games, and chat with like-minded people. So, yeah. Shall we take another listener comment, the one I was going to read out?
What, the Immortal Ozcat.tv?
Yeah.
Well, shall I read this?
You take this and then I'll go back to the feature.
Much like you, I'll method act.
Okay.
So I'm a good-looking dude. I've got a good beard. I've got a burgeoning Switch collection. I'm Ozcat. I've got such a flip-flop feeling for the Switch now that it's been out for so long. The console itself is genuinely one of the coolest designs. Ease of use for any generation of gamer. Dockable for the primary Switch, which not only upscales a game but allows it to play on a TV, which hasn't been officially done by a game company beyond the PlayStation TV or the Game Boy adapter for the Cube. It's also portable for trips, or so many people can play in the same room. It's a mighty fine system that I have clumped 150 hours of Animal Crossing into already. Granted, the Switch was the first system in a very long time which sparked my collector's side to come out after a dry spell, and I hit it hard, topping 200 games in about 11 months.
Wow.
When we used to do Stingrays boot, before you throat chopped it and tombstoned it through a flaming table, and then into a load of fluorescent tubes and explosives, Ozcat regularly updated us with his collection, and it was a thing of beauty. After I hit that 200 mark, I stood back to reevaluate what I'd done. Of these 200 games, more than 100 of them were just impulse purchase made solely on my FOMO, which I like to think I'm down with the kids. I think it's fear of missing out. Due to the 13 limited print companies existing, such as limited run games and single run games, etc. Then you stack the 100 of games which are on it that you have no place on it except as a cash grab like Witcher 3. In 2019, a game which previously could run at 4K on current gaming system was posted to a console where handheld ran at $540 and was marketed at $50 and sold well because that's how the Switch community is. As time's continued, the Switch collectors community has easily become one of the most toxic cesspools that's ever existed in the world, ever. Every game is suddenly impossible to find. Everyone buys up everything, assume it will be the next NES. People will retire with it, and no one seems to want to look out for fellow collectors anymore. I've since pulled myself away from almost everything social media based around the community that was building and is still growing with it, and I'm much happier. In the process of leaving that toxicity behind, I've since sold roughly 135 of my Switch titles, which leaves only ones I purchased because I genuinely wanted them, not because I had a very limited window to buy them at MSRP. FOMO is destructive and does far more damage than good. And the world of Switch gaming is almost all FOMO now.
We do see a lot of this, don't we?
One thing I'd say to Ozcat, he's woven into the very lore of the show, but he's not on the Discord.
No.
That is one place where toxicity is not allowed to exist because almost like I stamp it out. It's not welcome here. So
it's not.
We're all good people and we're all good to each other. And Ozcat, get on the Discord.
Come and join the party. Get on it.
Well, he makes some very, very, very solid points there. What do you think about that? You're a Switch owner. You trade the last game you played in for the new game that you've got coming out. So
I try to have a reasonable collection for the Switch. I did a giveaway for Mario Maker 2, which was done through the podcast, which was kind of sad to get rid of, but it's going to go to a good home, or has gone to a good home. I don't think
your ego could stomach the 7 plays of your level.
No, it couldn't. Yeah. You know me so well. Yeah, I mean,
I just don't understand what art is. What's wrong with these plebs?
Yeah, definitely how that went down. Yeah, well, I have a small collection for the Switch. I try and have like the core first party titles, but I know what he means. Like sometimes you feel obliged to buy that fear of missing out. I felt a lot with Animal Crossing. Like it's become massive, especially with everyone being at home and wanting to escape. And we're going to touch on that a little bit towards the end of the feature. But yeah, it's very rife in all of gaming, I think. But it makes some great points there. We'll get back to the feature.
I'll do one more. Let's do.
Okay, you doing another comment?
Yeah,
go for it. Go for it.
79, the aforementioned artist of the show.
What's he got to say?
Comic pictures on Etsy, no space. He says, I haven't personally owned a Nintendo since the GameCube, but the kids have had a Wii and a Wii U. I played Breath of the Wild on the Wii U and think it's the kind of thing that would be great to be able to take to work. I think the portability is impressive, given the number of big third-party titles from this gen they've managed to port. I can't comment much more than that, but I do really like having the idea of having a light.
Yeah.
No, the revised non-dockable. I thought that was a mistake, on the subject.
Yeah, I still think that's a mistake of it. It's like, don't sell the dock with it, but have the. I suppose it's just the technology in it to make it smaller and stuff.
Well, I know, but would it hurt for its HDMI out to be on the bottom of it? And then you could buy. Let's say you get James the Work Experience by a Switch Lite for Christmas. He's made up. It's great, but he can't play it on the big TV. Now, if you could have that, if you sold the dock separately and you sold Joy-Con, Nintendo's all about making money, Tom. I'm not being funny, but they know how to charge.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a dock set that you can buy separately, even if it was a Switch Lite dock, and some Joy-Cons that you then experience some of their other games with that you can't with the Switch Lite.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Absolutely,
like, I don't want to get lost in the weeds on this, but I've got at least a couple of PlayStation Vitas. I sign them both into my profile, and I can pick games up from those on either game. But my understanding is if you've got a Switch Lite and you've got a Switch, it's very hard to get them to share saves and coexist.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to touch on some of the Switch's online and user interface problems, like you're explaining there. That they are very backwards sometimes, aren't they, with their thinking and the way they do things. But we'll touch on that briefly. But back to where we're at. An area where Nintendo continued to struggle, though, is all-important third-party support, which has been all but lost back in the days of the Wii U, and developers seem cautious to jump on board with Nintendo again. This time, though, Nintendo really wanted to show developers how easy the new machine would be to port older games to and develop new ones for as well. So when titles like Doom 2016 Reboot and Skyrim and Fortnite showed the potential of releasing games again into a new potential portable market, other companies soon started to sit up and pay attention. Early supporters of the Switch like Ubisoft saw great success with Mario Rabbids Kingdom, and early success showed others that sorry about that.
What's wrong
Tripped over me words.
What is it in that glass? I'm guessing it's probably neat gin, is it? Slow gin.
Yeah, a bit of
I was going to say slow gin from Gin Jean, but obviously she's not allowed to get... Oh, your throat. Phil's throat chopping at me, so slow gin.
Yeah, I'll get back to it. Yeah, it saw some unexpected ports, really, from other companies coming over the last few years. Big third-party games like CD Projekt Red's Witcher 3 and also Blizzard's Overwatch have really made us question what the limits are of the little machine. I know these are going to be sort of very, like, graphically stripped back titles when they come to the Switch, but it's nice for people who have that as their sole console to experience some of those games. And I believe The Witcher 3 actually is pretty impressive now. It's had a large update, and they've really improved it a lot. We've seen a popular opinion though, if you do own multiple consoles like a Switch and a PS4, Switch, Xbox, you want to be playing those third party on your PlayStation or Xbox really to experience them in the best way. But
probably want to be experiencing them on your... Well, if you're a big enough boy to have all the bigger boy consoles, you've probably got the Pro and the One X as well, haven't you? So, you know.
Yeah, you may as well play them on the best way possible.
Let's before you rip into another chunk of James's finely prepared script. Well, C. Pliskin, the young buck on the Switch, he's commented on this. He said, "I've had a very good time playing with my Switch. I got it on the day the Ultimate came out in December 2 years ago, and that I've been almost played a game by myself or with my family. Since then, I've either gotten or a selection of games that I personally enjoyed, like Ace Attorney Trilogy, Travis Strikes Again, Super Mario Odyssey, Devil May Cry 3, Breath of the Wild, Civilization 6, it's a good game for that handheld, Super Mario Party, Enter the Gungeon, Celeste, and Overcooked, and so many others. I've actually thought about getting the Spyro Reignited trilogy as well because of my love for Insomniac games, but that leads to the fact that they're the best games to play on the Switch are discounted." What's going on here, C. Pliskin? You're normally such an eloquent young man, and there seems to be some missing commas and bits and bobs. Games to play on the Switch, discounted or otherwise, are all just a little too expensive for my liking. Seems to be a lot of people saying this, Tom.
Yeah.
And I think there was a comma there, so apologies, C. Pliskin. It's just my teeth, denture grip. I'm getting old. Maybe it has to do with the lack of job for me right now, but I think the price for getting the most out of your Switch is a little steep for the casual gamer. Alongside my right Joy-Con, not acting strange on a few occasions, but regardless, it's a great console, but I think people should know about the higher than expected entry fee to get the most out of your Switch. I would agree.
Yeah, I mean,
that's two heavyweights of the regular commenters that have said that price is a problem.
Yeah, I agree. I think because you have that like Switch tax, especially on the ports, you're kind of like, why am I paying like £50 for Skyrim when I can probably pick it up on Steam or another console for a tenner? I mean, it's not really fair, and they are exploiting the cost, but they just give it the old, oh, well, you can play it portable now. Well, that really isn't good enough for a game that's probably 7 or 8 years old. So, yeah, I think that needs to be looked into, but it's probably never going to change. It's just the way of the industry, isn't it?
While I'm here,
yes.
To put some balance in, here's Finster Gamer.
Okay.
I don't own a Switch, but I'd love one. The idea that you can play console quality games in a handheld format and handheld specific games like Pokemon on your TV blows my mind. Literal I was going to ad-lib there, but I was going to say literal cranial matter all over his front kitchen. He goes on to say, I'm not entirely sure on the purpose of the Switch Lite, so if it has no detachable Joy-Cons or the ability to switch it between handheld and home console, then what the hell is it? You can't call it a Switch if it doesn't switch between anything.
Yeah.
It's a Nintendo PSP, is what it is. Finster Gamer, he gives
Good
with
point.
one hand, he takes away with the other.
Well, it's good to have a balanced opinion.
Two switches in the hands, worth two in the bush.
What are two Switch Lites worth? Can they mash up into a? They
I don't
combine.
know. They don't combine with anything, from what we know.
In your eyes, they'd probably combine to make a PS Vita, but we'll leave that there.
I think you chop a Vita in half to get a Switch Lite.
Ooh.
Functionality.
He knows. Well, back to the graphical side of the Switch. The Tegra chip from Nvidia, the Switch used was.
You call it Nvidia. A lot of us call it Nvidia.
Nvidia. Thank you for the correct pronunciation.
No problem.
The Switch used a lot of the same graphics already available on sort of high-end tablets and phones, but this led Nintendo to get more invested in the mobile market. So they joined with the large mobile platform developer and provider Dena in 2015. Some of the best business merging done by the very sadly missed Satoru Iwata, Nintendo achieved. They agreed to develop at least 5 mobile games by the end of the year. This was all part of the grand plan to expose more people, some who don't even use gaming devices. The idea was to get them to notice Nintendo's great selection of characters and games. This is in turn was hoped to get new gamers interested in picking up Nintendo's own hardware, and was perfect timing for the then in development hybrid console, the Switch. We think this has all paid off in a massive way. The likes of Animal Crossing, Mario, and Pokemon all receiving successful mobile entries that promoted the idea of full traditional video game experiences in the same series, but then also available to play on the Switch in a bigger way. With this mobile technology used for the Switch hardware, however, has allowed for quicker, easier ports of mobile games, and this has sadly caused the Nintendo eShop to be seen flooded with many cheap and nasty mobile ports, which we don't like a lot, do we?
No, we don't want Cookie Mama 4000. We don't want Pippa Funnels Horse Stroking 6, do we?
I think the problem
titles.
I think the problem that creates is you just end up like burying so many great small indie games and even bigger third-party stuff just by having like wave after wave of I mean, we see it in our new releases we do every week. There's always something on the Switch. I think it just, they need to get that eShop just tidied up a little bit and get things in a bit better order so people know what they're looking for, so they can avoid a lot of that stuff. Well, some people like it, but not. I'd say the vast majority are there for looking for proper games.
What people like about this show is it's not two complete nincompoops giving their opinion each time. It's it's because this show is owned by its listeners. Fact.
It is.
And I'm going to throw the floor open to them again. I'm going to do some more listener comments. We have that moment to pause. Chronicles a Gamer, our friend all the way over. He's from New York, Tom. Can you imagine?
We hope it's safe.
What a scary place that would be to be right now. I saw him in a queue for milk at the Cracker Sparrows, a.k.a. 6
Dawn.
Dawn. Cracker Sparrows, mate. That's what they call it, Chronicles of Gamer. Listen in, Bobby. He says, I really enjoy my Switch, and I'm glad my girlfriend got it me for Christmas. I've logged in about 125 hours of Zelda, and she is near 100 hours of Animal Crossing. My goodness.
Catching you quick on the most hours used there.
Luigi's Mansion was great, and we love playing Mario Kart. I do have Mario Odyssey, but it's not open yet. I would like to buy third-party games for it, but I have a PS4 for that. I will buy Nintendo exclusives, however, and I never played it in handheld mode. I do not like handheld consoles unless I'm on an airplane.
Yeah. I mean, I always think it's great to have a handheld console, but then when a lot of the time you're in the house, it's kind of like, well, unless someone else watching the TV, you always want it on the bigger screen, don't you? It's safe to say, but it is nice to have that option, though. Definitely.
Well, let's balance things out. Got a lady gamer as well, Tom. I want to read a comment from.
Yeah, we have lady gamers. We are very open to anyone who wants to join the Discord chat or the Instagram posts.
No matter how you identify, you're welcome here.
Yeah.
Danny plays. She says, I was late to the Switch party because I hadn't been so much of a Nintendo console fan since the N64, minus the DS, she says. Now I have a bit of an on-off relationship with it. I can play it for weeks on end, then abandon it for months. It's a great console, and it's not my favourite. Shall I do one more?
Yeah, why not?
Do a bit more.
Do one more listener comment.
Okay. Retro Gamer Thomas. Now, question for you. Let's have an on-air discussion. He's obviously still the console serial killer.
He is.
Does your ego allow him to still be babysat by PCSO Ross Kemp?
No, he's free to do as he please. Ross Kemp has been buried alive.
So the console serial killer, a.k.a. Retro Gamer Thomas, is now running rampant. Good job. Coronavirus coincided with your ego's apex because that means he's not allowed out for fear of catching a very horrible virus. Therefore, everyone's collections are safe.
Good job, that.
That was lucky, wasn't it?
Very lucky.
I was lucky enough to get a Switch Lite from Mrs. Lecter for Christmas last year, and I do love it. But as a handheld, the original Switch didn't interest me because I'm going to play on my TV at home. It's going to be the PS4 all the way, I'm afraid. Plus, apart from Nintendo exclusives, there are lots of ports of games that I've already played, which puts me off a bit. It's handy if you fancy playing an old game when you're going on holiday. Overall, I love the Switch Lite. I have a turquoise one, and I think it's well-made, lovely-looking piece of kit. The negative point for me is I find the eShop expensive. This is another strike and not brilliant. Plus, I find buying hard copies too expensive as well. E.g., I can get one of the Saints Row games for £10 on PS4 or get a Switch version for £1. Technically, not as good. That's my issue. If I'm going to spend 30 quid, £30, $30 on a game, I'll always favour my PS4, I'm afraid.
Yeah, a very common problem, isn't it, here?
I don't know what to say. I mean, let's break this down. My old boy's got a Switch. Now, unfortunately, he lives between houses, mine and his mother's. And the Switch is the perfect console for him. And it's got all the games him and his friends kind of play. Fortnite, Minecraft, all that sort of stuff. And obviously you can dive deep on their retro catalogue as well. I say retro catalogue, but their well-known cast of characters as well, like Zelda and things like that.
Yeah.
So for him, it's a great console. And I'm sure there's many kids up and down the UK who are in a similar situation, or mums and dads, they might not game, and little Jimmy wants a little bit of time with his console on the TV when they're doing house jobs. But then when they want to watch Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway, mum wants to watch Geordie Shore, whatever nonsense parents watch these days, she kicks him off and he hides behind the sofa and plays his Switch there. So I can see the pluses of a Switch. But in a gaming household where there's going to be a plethora of consoles, Switch is a bit of a tough sell, isn't it, really? But saying that, best-selling console of 2019. Who's buying it? I bought one. You've bought one.
Yeah.
Most of our listeners seemingly have got one. Doogie's got one. Retro Gamer Thomas has got one. Danny Plays has got one. Says he doesn't like it that much, but Chronicles the Gamer's got, well, Chronicles the Gamer says he likes it. Ozcat's fallen in and out of love with it more times than a girlfriend at high school. See, Pliskin's got one, but he ain't got a lot good to say about it. So is it something everyone buys and then just puts in a cupboard? Or when that big Nintendo tentpole title comes out, they dust it off, find the Joy-Cons are broken, and put it back under the cupboard. What's going on there, Tom? What's your take on it?
This leads very well back into the feature. It's safe to say many gamers have purchased the Switch, and a lot of the time it's seen as a companion console to either PC, Xbox, or PlayStation, as we've just discussed. But this is still a great position for Nintendo to be in, and with a portable-only Switch Lite entering the market last September, Nintendo's really found its niche. This is even more apparent when you look at the popularity with the children's age group, which we've just discussed. The Switch continues to top many birthday or Christmas present lists, and is the talk of the playground, with it selling more than 830,000 units over the US Thanksgiving weekend last year.
Incredible.
Parents went crazy trying to get one in time for Christmas, and you'd be hard-pressed to disagree that it wasn't a very, very popular console with the Christmas period. That's just from the end of last year.
Wow, that is... I tell you what, if you and Stingray had a warehouse full of 830,000 units to get rid of, and you did it over a weekend...
Yeah, you'd be very happy.
You'd be very happy. Wow.
I think, to answer you, going back to your question about, is it a tough sell? I think for the price, I think you're still getting a lot for your money.
I suppose
the biggest sell they have is the fact that they're used to probably buying little Johnny's 3DS games. Oh no, Mum, I want one for the PlayStation or well, in Nintendo's case, the Wii or the Wii U. Well, yeah, but I bought you one of those. Hang on a minute, you can now play this game on your console on the TV or on your handheld. It is the same thing, and I think it has led to them being able to churn out hopefully more first party games, because they've got that handheld division working together with they're probably just merged into one big development team now, working on different projects, but it's all under one roof, and I think that's the best thing they could have ever done. That's their strongest point right now, is I think they can keep up with the demand of a reasonably decent first party game every month, which is a hard sell for one company. It's a hard thing to ask, especially in the current situation. But yeah, I think that's one of the best things they've ever done, to business wise and decision wise.
Okay. Well, when you get to ask me at the end, we'll see what I think about that.
Oh.
Whoa! I'm just going to present some facts. That's all. I'm just going to present some facts.
I don't want to hear any more about the Vita. This is not the PlayStation.
It's not going to be anything about the Vita.
You can have your little impact of the PlayStation on the market.
I'm not going to mention.
It's coming.
Dry your eyes, all right?
I love that saying.
Stop roaring, all right? Stop beeling on.
Beeling. Oh.
Just pack it in for 1 minute.
All right? I'll pack it in.
I'm not. There was nothing. When we get to the end part, if I'm going to mention a handheld console, I'm not going to mention the Vita, am I? As much as I like it, it was an unmitigated disaster.
Yes, a car crash.
Well, you say that. It did sell quite
well.
well.
Yeah, get out of it, right.
Doogie McBain.
What's he got to say?
As a primarily Xbox gamer, my Switch tends to sit gathering dust for a good few months. I bought it for the sole purpose of playing Zelda Breath of the Wild. My biggest gripe with the console is the price of games. Other than a handful of full-price purchases, I tend to surf for deals of any games I can pick up at a decent price. I would never generally buy a game on Switch that I can get on Xbox or PS4, as they're usually much more watered-down versions of the games. I don't play games on the go, but being able to play a game on the couch next to the missus while she watches some reality TV tripe is great. Next, a man who's known as Lincolnshire's best gamer, the best gamer at Smash, Perry Beecher. He says, huge success in my eye. Bought new Zelda games and Smash Ultimate. We have Switch nights quite often, so it gets everyone together. Having a console to use at home and also being there for travelling is a win. It's nice of Lincolnshire's reigning Smash Ultimate champion to message the show. Celebrity like him.
Yeah.
Reach down to the mere mortals like us.
I try my best, but still can't beat him. Anyway,
well,
before my ego gets crushed anymore.
Before you do that, what are you going to say, new listener?
I was, but I'll let you do that because you do it better than me.
New listener. I'm sure they're only messaging because they like to hear a clap. We do it themselves, but, why not have someone else do it for you? Canaric.
Why not?
They've messaged in. The Nintendo Switch has been a godsend for me. Me and the husband both love the game, but out of necessity, it has to be in separate rooms. With the Switch, I can bring my game wherever he is, so I can still spend time gaming together while playing our favourite games. That's an angle I can see. That's how the Nintendo Switch has carved itself out a little niche for gaming couples.
It has, definitely. 100. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Well done, Canaric. Please,
nice
don't
to hear
let
from you.
this be the only time you're going to pipe up and get involved, because you welcome every single time. Tom, if someone sat at home now, and let's face it, everyone's sat at home, and we're riding high in the charts off the back of Corona now. Everyone's sat at home, they're thinking, wow, listen at these two waffle on. But they say this show isn't just for them to articulate their opinions. It's for us to be able to articulate ours. It's our show, they say. How can they get involved in the conversation?
A lot of our comments come on Instagram, which you can direct message, or you can comment on the weekly post, which goes up before the show. We love hearing all your comments on there. You can direct messages on Twitter as well, or hit us on an email at questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com, or just chime in on the Discord if you want.
And if you look on any of the social medias, click on the Linktree link in the bio. Boof! Up comes a little screen. Send an email, listen to the show, or get involved on the Discord. It'll take you straight to us.
Yeah.
And then to a catalogue of friendly faces that, I tell you, a friendly face who hadn't chimed in for a long time, and we need to message him. Daddy Zilla.
Yeah, we hope you're okay over there in the US. Another US listener. He's probably got one of the best collections we've seen.
Yeah.
He's got some great knowledge as well, and a vast array of just stuff you don't see every day. So his page is well worth a visit.
Very much. And he's a thoroughly nice chap.
He is.
Great family. Young Devin Zilla, Carrie Zilla, and Mommy Zilla.
Yeah.
It's a good job they became parents and met each other, because obviously having a first name Daddy and Mommy, I wonder what she was pre-married, what her maiden name was before it was Zilla.
Who knows? A question for the law if it was still here. But,
they're real people, so it's not even for the law.
Okay.
It's just a question. What do you want to do? Do you want to do a little bit more of James's fine work, or do you want to?
Yeah. Well, we're going to look at another area where the Switch has improved things for everyone. Really, the indie market continues to grow and grow. And Nintendo saw a huge potential in this area. Originally, not showing any interest in the indie scene developers before. Developers were just believing that Nintendo weren't bothered at all about getting in touch and getting their games on their consoles. But that all changed. The arrival of the Switch caused, we have to say, a massive rise in the indie game market as well, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down. Got some of the developers talking. One of those developers was Nigel Lowry, I hope I got that name right, of Devolver Digital. And he said after the boom of the indie market and Nintendo's sort of peak of interest in it.
Listen, hold on. James,
we're doing fine. Just stick with me.
James has written a really great script, and you seem to want to keep ad-libbing it. And then you stumble over your mouth because you can't ad-lib quicker than your mouth can flap.
Don't worry.
Yeah, what James
now everyone's had the attention drawn to that. Nintendo really started reaching out to indie devs, visiting places like PAX and the Games Developers Conference to find out what they were up to, and wanting to help promote our games side by side on their platform. indies seem to be the perfect fit to bulk up the digital shop library. Then there's the Switch, like the raw processing power of its rivals, and some of the bigger companies still choosing to skip the yearly entries on Nintendo's console. Yeah, we're looking at you, 2K and EA. Nintendo even chooses to own its own Indies Direct, which really help promote games that otherwise might get buried in the landslide of weekly releases or their own larger direct presentations. So yeah, they hammered home sort of I think the importance of indie games, and that there are some companies out there who are doing some amazing stuff. I think it's benefited both of them, really.
One thing I would say, this is my take on it, the independent gaming scene in the modern era gets picked up and courted and then thrown down. When Xbox Live Marketplace first came out, they were courting the indies like it was like the newest, hottest love in town, like it's his first girlfriend.
Yeah, I nearly mentioned this actually
then Microsoft started to do really well with the Xbox 360, and they kicked indie developers to the curb. Yeah, whatever, indie developers. Then Sony picked them up and courted them like it was the new hottest girlfriend in town. And they were all about, PlayStation 4 supporting independence. Well, they don't even bother talking about them anymore. They've kicked them to the curb. And then Nintendo, walking down the street, sees this, haggard-looking tramp like a woman, the unloved independence of the scene, picked it up, gave it a haircut, now passing it around like it's his best first love. The danger here is, are they going to kick them to the curb next, and then who's going to pick them up? Because it'll be second or third time round for some of these independent developers by the time PlayStation or Xbox decide they need to support them again. Oh, we've always supported indie developers.
I think they're here to stay on all of the consoles and sort of PC or like Steam or whatever. I think they're big enough now to stand on their own 2 feet, and people have got those established series, like, I don't know, Shovel Knight, Steam World. I suppose you can class Minecraft as a kind of indie as well.
How can you class that as an indie when Microsoft paid, I don't know, billions for it?
Originally, I'm talking about. I'm on about how indies have established their way to stand on their own 2 feet through big companies getting involved.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I know what you mean. They do get passed around the block a bit of being the fan favourite for a certain company. But yeah, it's nice to see that.
They're what we call in Lincolnshire the village bike.
Yes. A good way of putting it. I think with Nintendo, it's been quite good to see them sort of loosen up a bit on their IPs and let them be used in several indie games. Like Cadence of Hyrule is a good example. I mean, Zelda's it's one of their biggest game series, and to let an indie developer loose on it is very brave, but obviously paid off. So that's good to see, and we're all for that. We're not here though to heap endless praise on the Switch, as it certainly does have its problems. One of which is Nintendo's online setup, which we did briefly cover earlier, but we're going to go into more detail. Even though it's improved, it feels light years away from rival platforms' online play and user interfaces. Voice chat is possible, but when first announced by former head of Nintendo America, Reggie Fils-Aimé, the idea seemed laughable. When asked how we would speak to our friends online, Nintendo bizarrely explained it would be done through a smartphone app, and you would call your friends through this. Seems such a strange thinking when compared to the company's philosophy of change and new ways to play.
Let's clear that up now.
Yes.
Is that still a thing?
Yes. But the better thing now is a lot of games. So if I play Overwatch, Blizzard have implemented it so you can just use your normal headset anyway. So it's very rarely used from my understanding. I don't really play the Switch online, so I can't 100% say.
Let's say you've got Overwatch and you're playing it. You plug your headset into the Switch, or you plug your headset into your phone?
I plug my headset into the Switch via the headphone dock, and it works.
Right.
But as far as I'm aware, I think it only works on certain games that have done like the work themselves of implementing it. I mean, the smartphone idea is terrible for a handheld that doesn't have like a mobile 4G or something.
I think that's just a terrible idea in the first place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100% agree. That's why we're here to look at sort of both sides of the Switch argument.
Little Johnny comes home from school, wants to borrow Mum's iPhone, wants to borrow the Switch. What's Mumsy going to do?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's good to show the impact of the Switch for good and for bad, and that's certainly not a great one. We'll talk a little bit more about the online. When Nintendo stopped making their online play capabilities free, many wanted to know how much it would cost and what we would receive with the service. Well, here's where they did start to make some better decisions, offering a cheap monthly cost of £3.49 or 12 months for £7.99. This came coupled with a selection of NES. £17.99, yeah, for the year. That's really good. With a selection of NES and SNES classics also to play. I think there was roughly 20 of each. I think they've added a few more now. We should quickly mention as well, really big shout out, the parental online controls implemented a really, really top-notch stuff. They've been really well thought out, and they're dead easy to use through the menu selection in the options on the Switch. So yeah, if you've got youngsters who have got a Switch, it's dead easy to make what they can sort of get on.
If there's any mumsies and dadsies listening right now and they're wondering what console to get little Johnny, I think the
Switch
would be the Switch, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
family-friendly games, but still going to have some fun playing Breath of the Wild. Still going to be able to have fun playing Minecraft. Got cross on the Fortnite with all the other bigger boy consoles as well. So if Johnny Junior down the street's got an Xbox One X or whatever, he can still play Fortnite with the kid with the Switch.
Exactly. I think that's great. I mean, fair play to Fortnite for getting the parties together and allowing crossplay. I'd love to see more of that in games. I think it's a great feature. And people are still always going to buy the consoles they want. It's not going to affect it massively. So if you have crossplay, it just lets everyone play together, which is what we want. Just going back to your comment about sort of what you should buy for your child, and I think the good thing with the Switch is you buy them it, even if you're not a massive gamer. They've gone to bed. Pick it up, have a look. There might be something on there you fancy. There's a lot of like real casual games that we said we're not massive fans of mobile gaming, but there is stuff on there that might just pique your interest and get you involved in it and think, you know what, this is pretty good actually.
I bet it's got Sudoku.
Definitely stuff like that. Yeah, Tetris Ultimate's great fun, and that also is available when you get Switch Online. You get free access to Tetris, which is basically like a.
I should know this, but has it got Overcooked?
Do you mean Overcooked or Overwatch? It's definitely got both.
The cooking game,
has, yeah.
Why would Mumsy and Dadsy be like, "Oh, I'm wondering about a game to play, a little co-op game we can play together"? I know, let's get Overwatch. Who's thinking that?
Yeah, we should just quickly mention as well. Nintendo never quite left the motion control scene behind, and we've seen success and not so much success in the Nintendo Switch with this. So we had the Nintendo Labo launching in 2018, and it didn't really go that well. It's a great idea. I think it's really good for getting kids to learn to build and stuff. I mean, maybe we'll see more of that.
I bet you there's more copies of Labo in Nintendo collectors' gaming rooms, boxed complete untouched, than there is played with.
Well, you might be surprised because they integrated it into schools as well, so it did get out there. It maybe just didn't take off, which is a shame because I like the idea, and I hope to see them maybe do something with Lego more down that vein of things, get people learning and building and stuff. One of the more successful things though with the motion controls was Ring Fit Adventure, which has done really well and is very hard to track down. I've seen some great success stories with people keeping fit with it, sort of shedding a lot of weight. As like gamers, we do sit around a lot, and the human being is not designed to sit for a long time. We're designed to be active and move. And that's a great way of implementing, getting people who like games.
I think they just haven't been sitting long enough. Because if you sit long enough on a couch, your skin will actually weave into the fabric of the couch, and you can become at one with the couch. You can grow into it and it into you, and therefore you could be sat down. It's fine. It's all fine here now.
I just have to be serious for a minute, and I've suffered a lot with like back problems and stuff. I have a very physical job, but also I spend a lot of time gaming, and I think the mixture of the two don't always work well. So I'm not trashing gaming here, but I should get stuff like Ring Fit and Beat Saber and things like that just to stay a little bit more active. But it's a hobby, and we all want to do what we enjoy.
Tom, let's segue. Let's segue into a couple more listener comments.
Yeah, sure.
Someone who's obviously keeps fit because he has to have a beach-like body 24/7, 365, because, as always, he's living it up. Bronze. Dubai Jim. He says, I like comic pictures. This was my first Nintendo since the Cube, not counting my OG DS. To say it was everything I could want from Nintendo is an understatement. Hits that portability you want when on the move with a screen that is night and day better than tablets, plus the ability to literally drop it into the dock from a perfect standby mode and pick up on the big screen where you left off is amazing. Games-wise, can't fault. Gives me what I want from those classic franchises, plus the NES/SNES online stuff. Zelda was astonishing, and being able to introduce the kids to Mario Kart has been a joy. Looking forward to this device hitting its stride games-wise in the next few years while the next gen gets up and running. Oh, and the Pro Controller, my favorite controller on all platforms for feel and for battery life. That reminded me, thank you for your comment there, Dubai Jim. Very much required, as always, your feedback on the show. But I was out in the garden the other day, and I was trying to play Vita. Couldn't see a thing on the screen. Couldn't see a thing.
Yeah.
Had a look at the old boy playing Minecraft. Although it was slightly faded, perfectly capable to play. In bright sun with no shade required. That is testament to that machine. Very much testament, because it means it can be used outside on holiday. You know, the kids can sit in the sun without the need to go and like hide under a parasol,
a rock,
and play their game, you know, with a blanket over them.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I did notice. I was like, wow, you know, this is incredible. It's almost got like an e-ink like screen, but color, where it can be seen. I was very impressed with that. Very impressed.
Do you want to take one more listener comment? Because I'll do the last one at the end after the rest of the feature.
After where do you think we're going to go with that? Okay, Tech Mike Reviews. He says, the Switch, just like the Wii, has changed how we think about gaming. The Switch has shown us that we can have great games on the go without sacrificing on the quality. I think Nintendo in general likes to push boundaries of how we play games. As far as third parties are concerned, I think it's had a great showing from most companies, and they continue to drop more games on the platform.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Tech Mike. Always nice to hear from you. Where are we at? Well, let's have a look at the present position in the market for the Switch. 2020 is looking very promising already for Nintendo, even with the current pandemic in the world is in. Nintendo marketing for the new entry in the Animal Crossing series couldn't come at a better time, providing escapism to a tropical island and hours of fun in the Animal crammed life sim, helping many escape the current lockdown. Animal Crossing has even become the biggest selling game over 3 days in Japan, selling 1.88 million copies, more so than any Switch type before it.
If you and Stingers had a wear out.
Another big event this year is Mario's 35th anniversary, and if rumours are to be believed, a Mario All-Stars 2 package, including 3 or 4 of the 3D entries in the series, along with a deluxe version of the Wii U hit Mario 3D World, are going to be coming out.
Even I would raise an eyebrow at that. I might even get my hand in my wallet for that. That would be good.
Yeah, if you had 64, Sunshine, Galaxy, you got 3 great 3D platformers there. Some of the best. The rest of Nintendo's 2020 lineup is still very much a mystery, though, and it sadly could change due to a lot of production and physical distribution grinding to a halt. That being said, though, it doesn't stop us thinking they have a strong lineup to go against the next generation of consoles. Even with Nintendo's carved out niche, it will need to pull out all the stops to compete with the bigger boys. Just before we go, though, George, where do you see them going next?
Well, this is what I've been thinking about, and the Switch has been an absolutely rip-roaring success for them, and much needed after the Wii U. Let's face it, people were giving the Wii U the sort of Dreamcast vibes and saying it might be Nintendo's last console, but anyone who knows anything about gaming knows that they were making a lot of bucks out of the handheld market. So when they did the Switch, they combined their handheld console and their normal home-based console divisions into one. So now they've got the Switch. They can't now go and back the 3DS or come out with another DS. That side of the market's dead. They can't now go and do a Wii U or anything like that. That side of the market's dead. So they've engineered themselves into a corner where they're handheld, docked, and on-the-go gaming device. This is where they're taking their company. Now, this has been all very well and good, and it's certainly allowed them a breath of fresh air and a push to the forefront of the games charts and the console selling charts. It's great stuff. But, and this has always been a concern of mine, have they engineered themselves into a corner?
Potentially, yes. I think the limit of the hardware is really going to come into. Can you hear me okay, mate? Just double check.
Unfortunately, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I think the hardware is going to become a problem with the next gen a little bit. I still think we'll see a pro sort of version of the Switch maybe next year. I still think that's something in the pipeline.
See, this is one of my concerns. I just don't know where they're going to be able to take it next.
It's just an upscale, because even some developers now are saying they could potentially put PS5 and Xbox Series X games onto the Switch. Just means to be severely downgraded. But if the Switch was able to ramp that up, which the technology's out there to do now,
I don't think that's. I think that's a little bit. I think when the SSD implementation of the Xbox One X and the PS5, the Xbox Series X and the PS5 hits its full stride, those games, the way they're ripped off of the SSD, is that going to be possible on a Switch? It's not, is it?
I think no. Realistically, they're just going to say no, and even if it was, it'd be a mammoth undertaking that no developers really want to go near.
This is my concern. Now, they've engineered themselves into a corner of always now being a handheld one you can dock and put on your big screen. But
yeah, but if you look at the success of the Wii, admittedly there was failures with the Wii U, and now the Switch is a success. I think they have that niche in the market. They are their own thing. They can do their own thing. They have the strong first party. They have some third party support.
So is their next console then?
Yeah.
I mean, is it going to be one that you can take on the go? Or are they going to bring out another Game Boy or a Nintendo DS? Or you see what I mean? They can't really come out of this now without always being handheld home docked console.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good point, and I can see where you're coming from. I personally think they're not. It's really hard to predict what they'll ever do, isn't it? They move in mysterious ways.
They do.
But yeah,
there's only one company that could compete with them for mysticism, and they're not around anymore, and it's Sega.
Yeah, who potentially I've heard maybe being bought out by Microsoft, but that's more rumours and completely off topic. But yeah, going back to the Switch.
Oh mate, if that happens, I'll be devastated.
Yeah. But going back to that, yeah, I think they've still said that they're not fussed about being like graphically competitive with the other companies. So yeah, whatever they release next is going to be different ways to play yet again, and probably I don't think they feel that fussed about if they can get a few third parties on board who will make games specifically for that console. They're fine. They know after the Switch, people will stick with the name as well. Nintendo's always going to be popular with the younger generation as well, so I think they've got it covered for a few more years. Yeah, definitely. But we better read out the last listener comment to take us to the bridge. We've got to give me an intro. New listener, please.
Oh, new. Yes, my liege. New listener.
Thank you very much. You may go now. Nintendo Switch Lite and More, a great Instagram page if you want to check it out for anything Switch related. They say the Switch is a very successful experiment, but at the same time, kind of a natural step for Nintendo. If we look at the sales numbers, handheld has always been what brought Nintendo the highest profit. Gaming-wise, it combines the best of two worlds and made gamers' dreams come true. Bring your AAA titles with you, literally anywhere. Makes it very easy and effortless to just pick up where you left off, especially when you're busy with, real life. I think it's changed the way consoles can evolve moving forward and show how Nintendo keeps pushing the boundaries.
That's another point. Nintendo seems to sort of get pushed into a corner, not really able to compete graphically with the bigger boys consoles, as we call them. So they came out swinging with motion control. They came out swinging with the Wii with the tablet, which was a good idea, but it was like the Switch, but not quite. And now they've come out with the Switch, and there was concerns that the other console. Are you done? What are you doing? You organising your memoirs?
Yeah, sorry, I was just checking the script.
They came out with the Switch, and I think there was a lot of fear that Microsoft and Nintendo would feel that Microsoft and Sony would feel they were going to have to come out with like a handheld dockable version of a console. But they've decided not to go down that route after getting suckered into the motion control market. They're not doing that again, are they?
No, definitely.
Part of me wondered when we saw like the Xbox Series X or the PS5, whether the controller would have a screen in it, or
I do.
Or there'd be a tablet that you rip off the side of the console, take with you, or something bizarre. But luckily, that's not happened. So Nintendo have managed to not influence the market in the same way they did with the Wii.
Yeah, I think that's good for all parties involved. PlayStation, Xbox know their role. Nintendo know theirs. I think if it can carry on like this, it's good for everyone. Definitely, and good for the industry. Well,
we must say thank you to the new listeners.
Thanks for joining in.
And your fine gentleman that you just read out. I've moved the script around, so I can't find his name anymore. Help me out here.
Yeah, it was
Nintendo Switch Lite and More.
Yeah.
Who you popped. So he must have slipped you 30, 40 quid. Is that the going rate these days?
Not in front of Phil. He don't know about that. Well, he does now, but...
Phil, the producer, I'm out in all of your crimes this week. Phil, the producer,
you are.
Lots of work to do to stitch this rather ripped tapestry and make it look like our show's very much like a magic eye from your parakeets in the background again. Our show's very much like a magic eye from the 90s. If you stare at it hard enough, something will pop out.
Absolutely.
Talking of magic eyes from the 90s, here's a man that's keeping everyone's spirits high by punting magic eyes from the 90s round, putting them on people's windows so they can use the glass to actually get the effect they need to see through and the 3D pop out. Because he doesn't enter people's houses, because although he's immortal, he still might catch corona. He's playing it safe. He don't want to take it home to young Wayne, does he? Is Wayne survived, or is it just Stingray just survived?
Just Sting.
Oof. Yeah, moment silence for Stingray's family then.
Gone. but
Beloved
never
wife,
forgotten.
Tracy and Wayne axed in a heartbeat. That's pretty brutal, Tom. And you still expect him. Your fingerprints all over the blade that axed his own family. This is very weird. And yet you still expect him to drive down the drive and drop you off games and VHSs on a weekly basis.
Well, here he is, though. He's loyal. He's loyal.
A peek in what the grind is real, Tom. It's time for a peek in what we affectionately call Stingrays boot. What's nestled between some counterfeit nappies and a dodgy copy of Battlefriend all this week. These are new release highlights for April 13th to April 19th, 2020. Listeners, these are out in digital or physical, or will be by the time this podcast's in your feed, but could be region dependent. Have you picked out a VHS, handsome, or
what? Yes, I have, actually.
You have? Okay.
I have. Well, boom.
Have you picked out a mummy?
No, there's nothing on there.
You have to
nothing.
Okay, I'll go. With... Phil has now produced, and you need to sign on completion of the show.
I'll go with the second one. So if you want to take the first one,
ever the one for the dad jokes and the innuendos. He's not fit. He's not safe for work. Is Tom? He's picked the second title. I'll go with Hellpoint. This is my mummy. Hellpoint on the PC, April 16th. Hellpoint is an intense action RPG taking place on Nova, a derelict space station soaked in an intoxicating dark sci-fi atmosphere. Fight dreadful creatures, face the cosmic gods, and unravel their twisted story. Should the challenge be too great, play with a friend in local or online co-op. I tell you what, Tom. Saying the word cosmic gods, this isn't my mummy, my VHS. That was my mummy game. But my VHS isn't this. But that reminded me of Ulysses 31.
Never heard of it.
Ulysses flying through the galaxies?
No.
Oh, don't know goodness. Gracious me. You better slip yourself onto YouTube on completion of this because you just found your new favourite TV show. Ulysses 31.
You're the sci-fi man, aren't you? And I'm like the fantasy sort of man.
This is both combined into a cartoon.
Oh, is it? Well, yes. That sounds all right.
With one of the very best soundtracks ever made. I'm very surprised you haven't heard of it. Everyone at the other end of these words have transmitted down the microphone wire into the machine, have been coggled up, and now they've wound all the way up the headphone wire and into people's headphones, through their car speakers, through their home podcast device, and they're hearing this blatant, flagrancy from you of never having heard of Ulysses. Unbelievable.
Okay, I'm sure I'll get lambasted on the Discord. Anyway.
Everyone on the Discord put 3 fire emojis and 31 and at Tom. I think that's...
Is it a roast? Am I going to get roasted?
Yeah.
Anyway.
The fieriest of roasts for that.
Here's my mummy pick. Save Your Nuts, PC, Xbox and Switch, April 16th. Go nuts in this insane 1 to 8 player chaotic arena party game. Put your cooperation skills to the test over intense physics-based battles, mixing casual offline modes and competitive online modes. My VHS this week is The Three Musketeers, starring Kiefer Sutherland and I believe Tim Curry as the Cardinal Richelieu.
That's a good pick. Now I'm a little bit nervous that my mummy, which was going to be Sequest DSV, I've had before. Roy Schneider's vehicle.
I don't think you have had 90s,
that. Submarine-based. You know, in a world where 90% of the Earth...
Always with the nautical.
Always. one prize. That's the only reason I'd pick Dreams Up, would be to cobble together some sort of 18th century naval simulation game. Anyway, Sequest DSV, good series. You should probably check it out. After Sharp last week, we've got to nosedive the quality in the floor and go for Sequest. Here's another game in the boot. Pull out. Here we go. Move out the way of the dirty oil-covered jack. And the screen wash lying here is a copy of Shooting Blaster Big Bang Boom for the PC, April 16th. Who says the Switch gets all the shovelware? It's the PC as well. Are you going to shoot? Yes. Are you going to blast? Yes. Are you going to make a big bang? Yes. Are you going to make a big boom? Yes. So what do you get? Shooting Blaster Big Bang Boom. Come and have some fun. It's a good time.
Next up, we've got the Z PC Switch.
You say
April
Z.
16th.
I'm only joking.
It's either Z or ZHED, but we'll leave that to the imagination. Z is an instant classic puzzle game based on simple mechanic. Builds onto increasingly complex puzzles that challenge you to a level you would not imagine. No timers, no clocks, no starts, no tricks. Just puzzles for you to enjoy.
Nice.
Actually,
I'm gonna this last game now. This actually, if you're a Switch owner and you're separated from your loved one, this game is actually quite unique. I might actually upgrade this. This is a secondary. This is a Mummy Part 2. I'm going to ask for Hellpoint because it sounds bigger boy, because it's got space, RPG, and derelict space stations. But this one, a fold apart, PC Switch, April 17th. In a world of folding paper, there are two sides to every story. This looks like a beautiful game. And
I've seen this advertised.
Someone needs to pick this up and let us know. Tom, get a code. Get Ninty, get Iriwata on the phone, whatever you call him. He's probably dead. That's fine.
R.I.P. One of the best in the business.
So's Chegwin. There ain't nothing money can't buy. Right. Get him on the phone. Tell him you want a code for Fold Apart. I want a review from you next week. How's that sound?
Okay.
How much is a Fold Apart? $2.99?
It'll be more than that, I think.
Like a good mobile game, it shouldn't be any more than $2.99 with in-app purchases.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it. That's the boot empty.
That's it. Those that paid attention at the top of the show know that Odders has got a Mad Cat steering wheel from a charity shop. And he's gripped that all the way through the show. And we've arrived at the point where I ask quite politely, Tom, what are you hoping to play?
I'm going to be finishing off Final Fantasy, I think.
Are you gonna get that finished? Side quests, platinum, one and done. Here we go.
Yeah, I think so.
Platinum?
Oh no, because platinum requires you to play it twice. You've got to go back to it on hard mode, which I don't think I'd do. Great game, but it's one you probably play once because of the story. Maybe play it like 10 years down the line, but that's not me. It's not the style, is it?
No, you need to trade that. Didn't you get the special edition as well, or fancy pants?
No. Times are hard.
Edition.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And the usual online shooters, I think. Nothing new for me. How about you?
Well, I've got to finish Assassin's Creed Rogue, which I'm quite excited about. I don't mean to be rude to Ubisoft, but I think I've played quite enough Assassin's Creed. I'm so knowledgeable of the engines in this first batch of games. I haven't moved to the PS4 ones that I know how to break it. I know how to get out of. I know how to hide. I know how to do all the stuff. If I get spotted now, I know what to do. I know how to break the enemy's line of sight. I know what the enemy's line of sight is. I know how to, break the game to work to my advantage. That's a man who's played a little bit.
Become the game.
Has become the game. He's played a little bit too much Assassin's Creed. And for that reason, Rogue's just dropping like a fly. I mean, I'm not getting 100% synchronization now. I'm bored of getting that. No, I'm not interested in that. I'm getting all the little pickups and all that other drivel. I'm unlocking some of the challenges that I feel are achievable within the time frame of playing the game without going full bore on it. And to be honest, I don't know how old that is now. Probably an 8-year-old game. So I'm interested to play either Arkham Origins, as I said at the top of the show, all that time ago, or I've got a copy of a game called Azura's Wrath, not that well known, but I picked out a couple of old magazines the other day and I was flicking through, and the game interests me. So I might give that a play, or I might just randomly spin around in the game room, and wherever my finger points is what I'll play next.
I think you should do that. I think you should do that, a live video of that as well. on the Insta page. I wanted to see you do that.
What a car crash. What would that end up being?
Just get like a plastic bin or something, or a bag, put a load of titles in, and you've got to play what comes out.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you fill the bag with titles, you're going to put in games that you might want to play. It's probably got to be a bit more random than that. So maybe I've got
get the kids to put them in. Get the kids to put them in.
Oh God. I was thinking about getting a bag, closing my eyes, and then just grabbing chunks of stuff off the shelf, put it in.
Do that.
Shake it up, put my hand in, and then pull something out, and whatever it is, Sequest DSV on the Mega Drive. That's what I'll play.
Get it done.
Okay.
Right.
If it ends up being a 80-hour epic that's not very good, I'll be disappointed.
You never do. Yeah, never doing that again.
No.
Right. Well.
Is that it?
It's the end. It is. It's time to say goodbye.
The time for the final curtain.
It is.
All right. Well, you can't go anywhere, Tom. Just put the brakes on, slow down, because you're contractually obliged to listen to this next piece of script.
Give it your best.
Are they all waiting for this?
Yeah,
they can't go either, can they? They're like, oh,
no,
might be a bit more show.
Come on! I've got to get on.
I've got to get on. I've got to go and sit in the other room and stare at the other wall for another 4 hours. The boys are giving you a little bit of something extra, a little bit of. There's going to be no post-credit action.
If it was an RPG, it would be a filler side quest.
Oh, is this what this is?
Yeah, this is the side quest about like collecting
before the final boss battle.
Lost cats.
What's coming up is the final cutscene before the credits. So yeah, so they've hung on a little bit. They've got another 50p's worth out of you there. Look at you. I charge for this. We're in overtime now, so every T-shirt sale is now all my money. Okay, all right. Well, there we go. At that rate, yeah, he's happy with that. Look, we ought to really.
We should record one of these one day.
What, like video?
Yeah.
That means I'd have to put some clothes on.
It would. and sort yourself out. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all we have time for this week, listeners. As always, thank you for your time. We look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. And remember, there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. See you, Tom.
See you, mate.